There we go. There you go. Not bad.
That should work.
I should. And you are?
Dwayne Killingbeck, Fire Chief in Fredericton.
It looks like I'm bigger than you, and I'm not. Can you get closer?
It's all
Are you comfortable? There you go. There. See, la. There. That's much better. You're making history here.
I am.
I did this with premiers, and I did this with MLAs, MPs, mayors. Not this one. Don't answer that. Anyway, don't answer that. So everybody, you're the first fire chief.
Well, I'm very pleased to be the first.
First time, and some people might say, well, next, boring, discuss fire. What are we going to talk? There's lots to talk
Pretty
about.
exciting. It's an exciting job.
Exciting job. And now you got to talk
Dangerous
less.
job.
Dangerous job. That's why I got Kleenex. I'm sweating. Okay, no, this is going to be good. How tall are you?
6'7".
6'7".
Yeah. Taller than average.
Excuse me. Don't take this. Whoa. Anyway, we're going to try to be polite. Okay. And what's your last name?
Killingbeck.
What is that? Irish?
English, actually. Named after an English river. From everyone assumes it's Irish, but yeah, my family comes from
England. So you're born here?
Oh, definitely born in Canada. We immigrated through the States up through Rochester and then mostly Ontario. I'm the only Killingbeck east of Ontario. So it's an uncommon name for around here.
And I pray you have lots of patience.
I do.
Okay.
Am I going to need it today?
Yeah, oh yes, I know.
Sure
Anyway, that's okay. No problem. Okay, so how long have you been a fireman?
Since 1996, 23 years.
23 years.
Yeah, all in Fredericton. I started here and I've had a great career here so far.
So you've seen a lot.
I've seen quite a bit, yeah.
How many firemen is there now?
In Fredericton? We have 96 firefighters that work in our operations that in suppression, and then we have an additional 4 that work in fire prevention, and they do education, prevention, inspections.
That's like well.
Cameron Dunson, yeah, he's one of those. We have a training officer, and then we have 5 in our senior staff that, like myself, who work days and assist our crews.
So a person would say a fire chief, lay back, Google, boring. What do you do all day?
Well, I'm always working on initiatives trying to make things better for our people, try to improve our processes, try to assist. Of course, our firefighters need support, right, to do their jobs, whether it's to get them new equipment, whether it's to do training, and secure funding to make sure that we can continue to do what we do, and for the citizens of Fredericton. So it's a constant work that I do, and it's going to be meeting with people like yourself and the media as well. It's a very diverse amount of things that I do in a given day. I never know what each day is going to look like. I may not be on the trucks, but I have excitement in different ways now.
How long were you unionized, and how long were you union, and how long were you management?
Well, for 21 years I was in the union. I was actually, for 10 years, I was on the union executive. I was one of the lead union executive people. So I was a treasurer, one of the longest standing treasurers in our history. So I moved from that role directly over as a deputy chief, and then now I'm chief.
Excuse me, my language. What are you, some kind of a nut? Don't you have seniority in the union?
I
and
do.
Then you go management. Can't somebody just come in here and say,
"You're gone"? That is right. There's a certain amount of risk that I take.
Money,
but
the money must be good.
I don't see it as risk. This is
Charlie, shut up.
I see it as it was an evolution for me. I've always been looking to make things better for the department and for our service, both as a young firefighter, as a union representative, and then now as a chief.
Honey,
just a different role.
Honey, I'm home. I got news for you. I'm losing my 15 years seniority. How much?
Well, I was 21.
21 years to go management.
Well, she already knows I'm crazy. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Admission is the first step. Yeah. Okay.
But I enjoy my work, and I see as it's an important role for the chief to play, and I thought I could do a good job at it, and I think I'm doing okay so far.
You do it to sit down with me. I like the other guy. Wasn't it too Simon? What's the police chief before you?
Fire chief Paul Fleming.
Fleming.
Yes.
And I harassed him on the street about. I know we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But I never sat down with him. We sat down on the couch outside. But anyway, my God, it's gonna be a long one. That's good. Okay. So how many posts is there? How many? What do you call them again?
Stations.
Stations.
Oh, there's 4 fire stations.
4 fire
One
stations.
on Two Nations Crossing, one on Royal Road, one on Kimball Road, and the one we're sitting in right now on York Street.
What's the budget?
Budget's around $15 million, all told, everything in. It's always changing a little bit. It grows a bit every year, just for inflation and all that.
It doesn't go down.
No, well,
But the welfare check will go up. Charlie, focus again.
Focus.
Okay, focus. That's it. You got some ribbon here? No? Okay, so stay calm.
you brought some when you were at the police chief. I saw the bottle you had.
You saw the bottle?
Garage. Yeah. You said you had a dozen of them before you started with him.
That was good. A new feet and a person with ADHD. My God, 1
You guys
hour.
had a great time.
Oh, 1 hour. It was good. Okay, so you turn around, the budget and everything is going up.
Right.
And now you hear, well, it was on the media this morning.
Just this morning, probably.
St. John, Canada Outlet, people say that maybe they should get rid of the firemen and go for volunteers or put down their wages, what they call it, binding
Arbitration. Yes, there's a
And-
discussion around
Yeah.
changing binding arbitration.
Do we? Do we need to change it?
Do we need to change it? Well, any changes we do make, I think, need to be discussed for both groups, right? And I think the concern that the unions have right now is that there's been some unilateral changes or proposed that would just from the city side, with no consideration for the union's concerns. So I think that's a discussion that's going on right now, back and forth, and I think it's a good discussion to have because the binding arbitration is supposed to replace, because we can't go on strike, right? It's too...
Police can, huh?
No, they have binding arbitration as well.
No, but didn't they can't strike?
No.
It's not like the big police strike in St. John when they went, they passed a law that they can't strike?
We've had binding arbitration for a while.
Yeah.
So police were considered essential services. So because we can't strike, we have to have something to replace our ability as workers to come to a conclusion. So that's why we have binding arbitration. The idea of binding arbitration is to replace what we would have come to as an agreement if we were able to come to the table and have a reasonable discussion and how, with all the facts considered.
How does that work? One arbitrator, two or three?
There's an arbitrator, and then there's a representative from the union side.
And the management side.
And then the management side. So there's three people.
And who is the arbitrator? Where is it from Ontario?
No, typically from the Atlantic provinces. There's a group of lawyers that have been doing arbitration work for a long time. They're very accomplished. They have a lot of experience doing it, and they be the lead arbitrator, and then they have the representative from both sides. And as a group, they work on it, and then the arbiter prepares an award that states what the decision is going to be, and then as it's binding, it's binding. It means both parties have to agree to follow it.
And we got no money.
And money's always a challenge. There's never enough money.
Never enough money for other stupid issues, but not enough money for the firemen or the
Right.
police. You know, I used to support the police 100%. Charles, focus. Okay, it's all right. Sorry.
That's another interview, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's another one. The ADHD. I hate this. Oh my God, just going and going on. But no. But the police are doing a good job. Mark the date. What I just said. I wouldn't want their job. They're like social workers. They go after. They have to get involved in issues, and their job is very hard.
Yes, it is.
And the firemen,
very complex, very hard.
And firemen also.
Yeah, it's very different from. We do have similar things, but we have different roles to play.
Damned is dangerous once in a while. The two officers that got shot,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
sad. And you guys, you don't know when there's a call. You don't know what's going on.
That's right.
You have idiots that got clothes jackets on top of their stove.
It happens. We all make mistakes, Charles.
Just
One
a point.
time.
I want to educate here. And I told Cameron Gunn, and he's a nice guy, but I said they do inspection,
Right.
housing,
Yes.
inspection, housing, and I said you should make sure that there's clothes hangers on the wall to make sure on the door. I didn't even know you could go to the dollar store and put it over.
Oh, the door hangers.
Yeah. Nobody told me.
Yeah. Just little things make life easier for you and safer.
Not be living in a motel for a month. But I mean, inspectors should make sure that there's hangers all over the place, so idiots like me don't get out, have a jacket just stowed by the door, put it on top, and go. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It should. If you're in housing, don't put your clothes on top of a stove. But if you go at dollar store, put on the hangers and over the door. Gets out of control here sometimes.
Charles makes a good point.
But
Hey, housing or anywhere you live, it's an important thing to keep it off the stove.
You have to. Oh yeah. You don't. It's just like driving. Same thing. Okay, focus. Then you. What's the lifespan Good job. You got the good job.
It's a very stable job. It's a
You
good
got
job.
you got it better. Your management now. You don't have to run inside the buildings. What's the lifespan of a fireman?
For an average firefighter? Well, anywhere between 25 and 35 years.
When they retire, how long they live?
Oh, afterwards.
Cancer.
Oh,
what's
I see.
the lifespan?
I don't know the exact numbers, but it's been proven, very well documented, especially the last few years. They've done a lot of research on
in
cancer.
New York, 9/11.
Well, 9/11 is a good example. Also in Boston and other places, they've done a lot of research about how often, more often, we get cancers related to our work,
Yeah.
and it's quite alarming. Every cancer is a little different as far as how many more times
What's
we're
the
susceptible.
majority? Lung cancer?
It would be throat cancer. Would be a big one because when we wear our hoods and our masks and everything, but the smoke and carcinogens actually still make contact with your throat and they absorb through the skin. So that's a very common one, as well as lung, prostate cancer. There's a list of 13 cancers that we are far more susceptible to get due to the fact that we're firefighters. And there's 9 of them right now, I believe, in New Brunswick, which it's called presumptive. It means that if we get those cancers, throat's one of them, for example, that it is presumed that we got it through work, and we are covered by WorkSafe. It's the same thing as we got injured on the job. That's how prevalent it is to get cancer through firefighting as a profession.
I got a picture of an idiot fireman smoking.
That's a personal choice. It isn't good for anybody, really.
Smoking.
But
Idiot.
yeah.
Us reform smokers, we're the worst kind. We're the worst. But uniform and everything, puffing and saying, how many smokers is there? That's,
in the fire department?
In the fire department.
We have a few, and they're all battling with it. They're trying to quit. They don't understand it's not good for them, just like everybody.
After saying that, I know some people are going to be very upset. Call a fireman an idiot, because I used to be one of them, and I'm a reform smoker. The nurses, they had a big convention center, a big annual convention a couple of months ago at the convention center. About 200 nurses outside smoking.
Oh, really?
The nurse. I said, of all you people. Okay.
It's a stressful job.
Stressful job. But anyway, but the smoking, no, if you get, what I'm trying to say, if you get sick,
Yes.
you can't really blame it on your work related if you're a smoker.
That complicates things a little bit,
Yeah.
for sure. But it is presumed that you do get it, that you've got it from work. If you're a firefighter, and it's based on how many years that you've been working. A lot of us, like I said, work from 25 to 35 years. That's a lot of chance for exposure to some pretty bad stuff.
Okay, so I used to hear it, don't hear it no more. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, you got a call, 911, you go. Now, first you see the red truck going,
Right.
the little red truck, the little one flying.
The rescue truck would
Yeah,
probably
the
be the one.
rescue-
Yeah,
yeah.
that's sitting in the bay out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so when is that call? When do they decide to say, does that go to every call?
It goes to most calls. It's our there's 2 people on the truck that run that truck. There's a lieutenant and a firefighter, and the truck is designed for motor vehicle accidents, rescue, like rope rescue that we do from it's a technical truck as opposed to a fire suppression truck like the one with all the water on it. All the rest of the trucks are designed to be fire suppression trucks, so they're for fire specifically, as well as other emergencies. So that one goes to all the motor vehicle. The rescue one you're talking about goes to all the motor vehicle ones, as well as the fires, because although we park it off to the side and probably don't use it when we're fighting a fire, we need the people that are working on it, and they come and they're part of the team that puts the fire out.
Woodside, Brad Woodside, oh, do we miss him? No, that's right, we can't talk politics.
You're not supposed to.
No, okay, sorry. But when he had a complaint about firemen, he always said, well, I used to be a member of the Minto. I was a fireman myself about 100 years ago. Anyway, that's how old he is. That's why he looks like he was mayor for 100 years.
He's been around a while.
We do miss him.
He's a good man.
We miss him. Yeah, it's okay. So he was complaining that every fireman went to every call. Remember he was saying,
There was concern about what we were sending to different calls.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because people don't realize, and I get this from people, say we're going out and we're doing a fire permit, like where someone wants to burn something in their backyard and we need to make sure it's safe and for a fire pit. They say, well, you don't have to send a big truck. And just have someone come in and say, well, that's our only truck we have. That's because we might have to respond to a call. So the big truck out there, the Quint, that's our vehicle. So we have to bring it everywhere we go, because we don't know when we're going to need it. So if we go to a medical assistance call, that's the truck we have to drive. And the mayor was concerned about big rigs running around, But what we did in response to that, as part of our what we were doing anyways, but he had a point, is that we want to make sure we're going to the right calls. So, if someone needs to be transported to the hospital just because they have to go for an
Asthma,
appointment or whatever, if it's a low risk call, then the ambulance goes by themselves.
Yeah.
If it's a higher priority call where it's limb or life is in danger,
every
then we
second
go.
counts.
Every second counts, and we can be part of getting them the help faster and getting them to the hospital faster. So it's important that we go, and we make sure we get there. We go there safely. We have a process of how we drive there. We don't go too fast. We make sure the lights are changed. All the things we do to get there safely. We do the best work we can on a service that's very important for our citizens. And I think we've got a good balance right now.
I remember, I feel like Kevin Bang Bang Vickers. Sorry, politics again. Sorry, sorry, Liberal leader there. Stories. I remember. That's why I always say that. Anyway, I remember the first time I got a police scanner.
Okay.
And it was a fireman that gave it to me.
Mm-hmm. I think I know who he was.
Oh yeah, but we're not going to mention no names.
Nope.
No, of course not. And we could talk about the mayor names. We can't do that either. So anyway. Boy, I'm an edgy focus. So like that's what the chief was saying. Roger, focus, Charles, focus. Take your ritalin. I got the police scanner, and a couple of days later, you had a fire at Forest Hill complex.
Okay.
And I was listening to it.
That's a big fire. That was a big fire.
And I was listening to it. It reminded me of 9/11.
Right.
I was the connection, floor by floor. We're up to the 4th floor. We're up to the 3rd floor. We're up to and just going room by room. It was sort of brought tears in my eyes, sort of listening to it going up and the breathing, and you just hear everything.
Yeah, can be pretty dramatic, is what you.
Dramatic.
What you do, yeah.
And the police chief also. So that was the beginning of me, or the beginning of the end of public relation. People start listening and start really pay attention of what our first responders had to go through. And some of them was personal. Of course, we have idiots, that will go on and mention names, private info, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
and
the
you
problem.
know why.
Yeah. Private issue. Oh, this person has bipolar and he lives on blah, blah, blah. History, blah, blah, blah. Then these idiots go on Facebook. I never did that. I crossed the line many times, but I never crossed that line. But I always said that we're the only city in Canada that don't have an emergency plan between our first responders and the citizens. There's no communication. Nobody knows if there's an explosion behind there. How do you do it? Do you get out of here and holler fire? And then
we do have methods that, and I'm sure you know some of them. Like as far as our Twitter account.
It's not everybody goes on Twitter.
It's true. There's so many ways to communicate now, right? So we struggle with, well, a good example, you say have an explosion, we have a fire. Well, now our model now is, if we have a fire, we all go, because we're not a very big department. And we're going to need everybody that's working that day to...
Did you see the video I made of fire on Brunswick Street? Remember the old house that burned beside the church? The big one? I was the first one on the scene.
Okay, I think I was there too.
And I hollered, but it took about 15 minutes for the firemen. You had a call in Hanwell. And I seen the smoke, and I was screaming, fire! People say, hey, it went viral. And they say, oh, how come you didn't call the police? I never had a phone. It's a camera. They thought I had a smartphone. How come I didn't phone 911? But stuff like that, everybody in the neighborhood started coming around the fire. And I had to holler, hey, get back.
It's not safe.
It's not safe.
Yeah.
But it took a long time, and the communication of what was going on. Go ahead, I'll shut up. I'm doing too much talking.
Okay, well, so we all go.
Yeah.
And so we try to communicate as quickly as possible as far as, like, please stay away from this area, whether it's through tweet or through our different methods. And if it's something larger, we use our communication team for the city to push it out, on different platforms, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. They're connected a lot more than we are, and they're willing to help and push that out, because you're right. It's important to keep people safe and make them understand that something's going on, because it's going to. I'm sure you've seen it. It affects traffic. It affects like for miles around, because something's blocked off, especially when it's downtown.
But there's no to say it's on, and by the way, you can answer this if you don't want to, go ahead. That was said with that language commissioner. You guys had a hard time.
That was a struggle for us.
You
because,
had a very hard time.
we're getting translation. It's hard for us to work in real time.
Parlez français?
Oui, un peu. Oui. Je parle un peu français.
Tu parles français?
Oui.
Ouais, OK, but c'était un problème. C'était un gros problème.
Oui.
Oui, that's all you can say. Oui. What? It's all right. Well, we're not gonna go down that road. But what I'm saying is, you had the language commissioner, Catherine d'Entremont, and next thing you know, they wanted the back change from French also.
Right. To be
You know,
to keep back 150 meters.
and then she wanted to be tweeting. I'm the boss, but she's not the boss. She is a language commissioner. She gives like the ombudsman recommendation. That's all. Recommendation. You don't have to take it. But do a little talking. The recommendation, but then you tweet it, and then she said, that's not good enough French. So, like, ouais, oh oui, je peux, un peu. What's good French? Je parle chiac, moi. And then the Québécois come and then it's come, okay, Charles, tu n'as pas le droit, Charles, you're not allowed to drive your bicycle on the sidewalk without a helmet. You're going to receive a fine. Québécois, Charles, tu n'as pas le droit de conduire une bicyclette sur le trottoir sans de casque de sécurité. Tu vas recevoir une amende.
C'est différent de chiac.
C'est différent. Chiac. Charles, tu n'as pas le droit de driver ta bike sur le sidewalk avec pas de helmet, tu vas avoir une fine. So what is the proper French? And you guys went through a hard time that you couldn't communicate the message or urgent emergencies quickly.
We're still working on that, and also like working with translation services, both police and fire. Right, we both have the same need to get things out quickly, and we're working with the government service to get better at that, so we can push it out at the same time, because we understand, the language commissioner has a job to do, and it's important to have that information out for both languages for people that need it. So yeah, it's been a process.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Boy, you're good. You stay calm. You smoke?
No.
You mentioned you have gum.
Yes.
And that calms you down. Okay, that's good. I don't want to be strangled. But the police scanners, there's no more police scanners. There's no more scanners. We used to listen to you guys.
I think you probably had an analog scanner. The one that you got was probably analog. When you switch to a digital,
yeah.
like one of the newer scanners will actually.
Can we still hear you with the newer scanners?
Yeah.
Because we went to, but
Broadcastify too, right?
Yeah,
is
but it's not there.
That's not that's a service that someone else was doing that captured our data, along with a whole bunch of other cities, right? But that's no longer available. But that wasn't something that we.
How much is your budget again?
15 million.
Can we take $10,000 or whatever it takes at a meeting? Okay, guys, we have to let the public know. We don't want to see a language commissioner have a meeting and say, we're very, very sorry that 15 people died in this explosion, but the law is the law.
Well, if you're talking about the scanner option,
how come you can't have a scanner and a website and connect it, Charlie? Let him talk. Have the police scanner connected that the citizen can.
Well, I can't speak to the police, but because we're different.
No,
we're different.
we're
different,
I'm talking
right?
about you guys.
But as fire, I was just talking to one of my people yesterday this morning about the Broadcastify and the fact, why aren't we, what's the issue? Because there is supposedly a way for you to access Broadcastify, and they're working on it right now, trying to find a solution. And I was saying, well, if Charles is interested, we should probably let him know.
You'll let him know.
When we crack it.
It's not Charles. It's the citizen.
People in general.
If I'm here, I'm enjoying a cold beer in the summertime, like it happened, a gas leak at the bottom of Smike, and where the roundabout is.
Okay.
There was where they're working.
Where they're okay.
Roundabout.
Yes.
Last summer,
right.
There was a gas leak.
Someone punched the line.
Yeah. And right on 114 Brunswick Street, that's the first place that I live. No girlfriend was there. Anyway, focus. Right between the two buildings, there was about 10, 15 people there.
In a place they shouldn't have been.
In a place they shouldn't have been. Now, if you're here, you're outside, then you have it connected and you hear beep, 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 beep. Okay, then our ADHD, everything is connected, and then call, then people know. What's wrong with that? What's wrong in connecting to a website?
But I guess the thing is, as far as like you have an interest, a lot of my firefighters are interested too, like listening to the communications.
We're nosy bastards.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of
true.
nosy bastards in this city.
But
you know.
but you're a group that is very actively interested, right? As opposed to the majority of the population wouldn't be listening to scanners. They'd be more interested in getting their information from the major platforms, right? Because like the Twitter and the Instagram and Facebook
But you
and
have
other
to
ones.
check it over and over and over. There's a fire.
You actually have to actively listen.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I mean, come on, man. It's not everybody that goes like,
Fair point.
They're too busy talking about me. Oh, my Facebook. This is what I ate today. They're not going to go to the fire department website
drive
and
it
see.
out. No,
You know what I mean?
Good point.
Thank you. Sometimes come out some good points. Sometimes, not too often, but sometimes. So no, but that's it. Anyway. Somebody complained yesterday that he was taking pictures of an accident, and
Okay.
firemen went after him.
What do you mean went after him?
Went after him, saying you're not allowed to take pictures. It was a woman that got hit by a car, or in the corner of Brunswick and King, and he was all upset that he was taking pictures. And the fireman said, "Listen, I'm not allowed to take pictures."
Well, I guess, and I wasn't there.
no,
so
exactly.
I,
Same
but-
here.
but
Same
it-
here.
but it
I'm
only-
just put it there.
Right.
They never gave me a problem. Never.
Because the two things that would probably be of concern
privacy.
at any call, whether it's an accident or is, well, of course, the privacy.
privacy.
And by privacy, I mean we have an accident. Someone's hurt, maybe injured really badly, or maybe has passed away. And if you have somebody taking a picture and posts it on Instagram,
Never.
and then their wife or daughter or husband sees it on there first, that's definitely not the way that they'd want to find out. That's the one thing. Another thing is, as far as people tend, and you've seen it, tend to crowd in to see what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a natural thing that we as humans do, is want to see, get a closer look, and we have to maintain a distance so that we can
Circle.
work. And then a circle, exactly. Especially for accidents.
Yeah.
So
I don't interfere. Maybe he went too close.
He might have gone a little too close, because our firefighters don't, as a rule, tell people not to take pictures,
Yeah.
because we see it all. It's our life now.
Yeah.
Whenever we go to any call, there's dozens of cameras
Yeah,
out.
that's it.
And
You can't
everyone
stop
accepts that. And it's-
Everybody.
Exactly.
They don't have the word blogger in the back.
No, we have
But that
our own
helps
sign.
though. But
Oh,
me-
for you,
me,
yeah.
That helps though. There's the
Def-
asshole right there.
Yeah, we know, yeah.
So okay, we get along just fine.
Yeah.
What you said earlier, people are, was it that word, nosy? People are.
Oh, they're always in. It's a human.
It's a human thing.
Yeah, they're curious.
And two police officers. Call them police officers. I'm doing good. That's what happens when you get a new chief. So anyway, no, seriously, two police officers last summer at Officer Square, and there was somebody that took a stroke.
Okay.
Then they were between the cars, and I arrived, right? And then suddenly said, Charles. And I heard, oh, okay. So I kept on going. And next thing you know, the police officers told me after, why do we tell people what's going on, and they are still coming? And the guy died, unfortunately.
Okay.
But people, like you said,
They want to see.
they want to see.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is, I may be a pain in the ass, but there's a line there. That's privacy.
Right.
I'm going to see the guy, and I'm going to ask him how close he was, because you got to let the first responders do their job. You can't interfere.
Right.
You can't do that. So how's the morale?
I think pretty good. We're doing some changes, trying to make things better and different. And we joke within the fire department that firefighters don't like two things. They don't like things when things stay the same, and they don't like it when it change.
They don't want to change.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah. And change is always difficult. But I think we're making some things so it's better for our people, safer for our people, and better service for our citizens, and fight fires better. We're doing a lot of work for training, getting better at forcible entry, so we can get into buildings quickly to save people if the doors are locked, for example, or getting better at auto extrication, so that we can safely get people out of cars faster and more efficiently and safer.
20. I wonder if I'm going to stop at 30. Sorry, if it stops.
Okay.
By the way, just for the record, this is public knowledge. How much you make a year?
How much do I make a year? Right now, base wage is $140,000 a year. It's not chump change.
That's why.
But I'm full-
That's why the wife never divorced you. You went from what? You went from what to what?
Well, not much less.
That was
Actually, the job I had before wasn't a whole lot less.
Really?
Yeah.
So
And I traded. I love shift work.
The what?
I love the shift work. I
Yeah.
love working the 24-hour shift.
Okay.
There's a long day and lots of work, but then I had some quality time at home with people. Now I work 5 days a week minimum, and it's very different. I worked 22 years shift work or 21 years shift work. It's a big change.
Shift work is not easy.
It's not easy, but there's pros and cons, and I loved it. It was good for me.
Is there a lot of family members, a lot of firemen have, like police? I remember an old chaplain that was the police force, and he told me, he says, Charles, the police officers, family problems. It's very, very, very hard. They bring their work at home. Does that happen here?
That does happen, and we've been getting a better understanding of what exactly is stressing us to cause us to bring things home and trying to deal with it.
What causes stress?
What causes? Well, the things we see every day.
That's thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of what we see more in our in a few days or a few months than some as far as bad things than somebody normally sees in a lifetime. Like, you might be in one accident or see a couple things, but we see it every day that we come to work.
That's
so
right,
that builds
that's
on that builds on us.
Yeah,
and weighs us
that's
down.
where the PTSD comes in.
But it's not just we talk about PTSD, which is definitely it's a disorder that we can get, but there's many other things that start to affect us, like the stress of that job. We might have trouble sleeping. That's a big, because of shift work as well is a big thing. And then have other disorders that we can get from this type of work. So it's not just PTSD. They call it occupational stress injuries. And we're working hard with our people to have people start recognizing it in themselves and in others when they're starting to change their behavior. Like the person you were before, if you started to act differently, being short with your wife and your kids or your husband and your kids, and where you're not, that's not normally your normal behavior, recognizing that and say, hey, something's going on with me, something's bugging me, and going to get help, go and seeing somebody and dealing with it when it's early on, rather than it gets to the point where you're not sleeping, you're drinking, you're self-medicating to make everything okay. Well, let's get it early so we can keep everyone healthy through the whole career.
I apologize. I call a fireman. No, I don't apologize too often. This is sort of a second history. First you and then history.
Hey.
I call a fireman an idiot because of smoking.
Oh.
But you know what? There is a lot of stress. What's the worst thing you ever seen?
There's several. Come to mind. I was at a motor vehicle accident down on University Avenue, and it was a motorcycle against a car, and there was people dying when I arrived, and we were trying to save them, and they were in very, 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 very bad shape. And something you see in the movies, and that's a good example of the type of thing. Another one is someone's passed away in a fire, and we're trying to save them, and we're not sure if they're alive or not, and they're in very bad shape, all burnt, and we're trying to save them, and knowing that's, in that case it was somebody's husband and somebody's son that we're trying to save, that weighs on you, and especially when you don't have a good outcome, right? I went into this to help people, and you always want a good result, and when you don't have one, it weighs on your mind, and that's, speaks to the stress. And you imagine it,
No, I can't.
If you can imagine like the type of thing that with accidents and fires, of the damage that it can cause to people, that's, seeing that and being part of that, and not always having a good outcome, even no matter the best job you could do, sometimes you're too late or too far gone, but it's still, you do the what ifs in your mind, right?
And then you get emotional, and then
That's right.
you get the people around the area that gets emotionally upset.
Absolutely, they're seeing it too, and they're involved in
And
it.
then-
It might be a friend or a family member that's adding to everything. For me, like if it's a building, if it's a property, we try to save it because it's precious to somebody, and we want to save it if we can. But if that stuff can be replaced. It's when people are hurt or people are killed, that's where it really weighs heavily
Babies,
on
kids.
me. Yes, especially kids and babies. But
Even crime scenes.
Yeah.
Even crime scenes I've seen, I've heard that, some, the issue, drug issue is getting pretty bad, and then there's something that happens, and then the put the house on fire and blah, blah, blah. They see the...
Right. Absolutely.
It's not good. You got a fire. It's burnt
Yep.
down. You got a canine?
We use the Kenine from
Ormonto?
from the province.
Province.
Yeah,
You got a canine?
one of our officers used to work for us, and he moved to the province, and he has Mallow, his canine unit.
How long has he been there?
Oh, maybe 7 years.
7 years? So he goes there, and what does he sniff for? Arson?
Well, it's accelerants. So the dog's trained to any type of accelerant. That's what they're trying to search for. That would be out of place or very specific, and they have an incredible nose. It's amazing what they can detect.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's helpful. It's a helpful tool for us after the fact to try to figure out what exactly happened, because as you know, and it's back in, we call them legacy homes, back when everything was made out of wool and cotton and wood and natural stuff. It was far easier to detect a gasoline or like something that's an accelerant. Now everything's made of plastic or a version of gasoline, solid gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it far more difficult for us to do our work and to figure out what exactly happened.
How many accidents would you say the past year that you went there and it was drug related that a fire caught, like met?
There's been a few, as far as like I think they've been in the news.
There's one there, but
Yeah.
then there's others. Has there been others
there's
that haven't been in the news? There's
been a couple other where there's drugs are involved.
Yeah.
But as to the level of that call, that nothing quite that big. But it's drug use can lead to irrational behavior, and when you have irrational behavior, you forget to do something you normally do. If you're under the influence, you aren't quite as safe as you normally would be, and you forget to put something on the stove and then turn the stove on. In your case, it was just being forgetful.
I can't swear, but that is good. Forgetful. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
we're all
it's
forgetful.
It's all right. We make mistakes.
Yep.
Life's
That's why they call it an accident.
And that exactly. The what the hell I was going to say? This one, the drug, the issue. I hate getting old. See, that's why we don't mark nothing.
Way better than the alternative.
I know. That's what somebody says. Just enjoy every day. But no. But if you take a big city, the firemen. If you look at here, you're not used to see the issue of tragedy because it's a smaller. I always say this is a big town.
Right.
And when you see something bad, like if they like you said, you go to it. That's what I want to say. You go to an area, and you have people with mental illness around you. Then you got to learn to deal with them.
Right.
So it's not only put out fires here.
No, we're dealing with the public for whatever reason. And it's not just fires, right? We do usually if somebody is having problems and they don't know who else to call, they call us. Whether it's helping them
Call
get
you.
a cat out of a tree, the fire department.
Why?
Whether it's because usually we're problem solvers.
They love the sirens here.
No, well, maybe it's
attention?
that, but no, it's more like we're problem solvers. If there's something going wrong, we try to find a way to fix it.
Thought you called the cops.
They come and help.
Huh?
So it's a three: cops, ambulance, and firemen. All together, firefighters.
And then, is it lately you take a call and say, especially with the drug issue, Bristol Met, and say, oh no, not again.
It's still pretty. It's last few years has been getting worse. Our concern is around things like fentanyl, for example, where it's so dangerous. The potential is so high to injure the person that's involved that is having trouble that we're going to help, as well as us. It's a whole other level of the potential. Just one little sniff or touch and from a speck, from less than a grain of sand, could kill somebody. So for us, that's a huge thing we're adapting to right now, because we used to always think we have our gear on and we're pretty well protected. No, not for something like that.
No. And you have a female, that's management.
Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief,
She is,
redhead.
Yes.
You know what?
Deputy McCarthy.
I'm not scared of nothing. But red hairs, oh, they're direct. they're straightforward, and if they don't like you, they will let you know.
You'll know it.
Oh yeah, but her, oh, yeah, I've been agitating her for you, but she is a sweetheart, and that's history.
Yes.
Deputy
absolutely.
chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
First woman deputy chief in our department.
And when you go ahead.
Oh, she's excellent.
How long has she been there?
As deputy, less than a year. When I came on last March, or this March. So yeah, it would have been this March.
Okay.
Yeah, and I came on in March, and then a couple months later, she came on as deputy.
Good. And when you guys go on these, you see, there's no, you got no emergency plan to tell the public about a fire, but then you're working on that, right?
Yes.
You're working on that.
Absolutely, communication's
right?
key. Absolutely.
Communication.
It's key.
So next time I see you, you're about this tall, I will ask you, and plus you got deputy chief as a redhead, so that's
to back
true.
me up.
That's it. So I won't fool around with you guys at all. When you go around, like in Alabama last week, you have these firemen competition.
Oh yes.
Who pays for that? What's going on?
the
How many competition they go a year?
The individuals. I used to do that for I think 14 years. I did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was on the team. Started back in the year after I came on the department, and we do it as a sport for us. It's our version of a sport, and it's called a challenge for a good
How
reason.
many goes there?
Anyway, it depends on who's interested, but they just go on their own time. They pay for most things themselves. We help out when we can as a department, but the majority of it's paid for by the individuals. And we have like regional events. Somewhere in the Maritimes, they go to an event, and then maybe to one in Ontario, and then they go to a nationals, and then if they're doing really well that year, they go to worlds. And I don't know if you heard, but we were combined, us and the base, Gagetown.
Okay.
We had a couple people from there and a couple people from here. Together, we made a world championship team that won last year, and we came in second, just Fredericton, this year. So we're very proud of the guys and girls.
So
that are
that's not
running
part of the 15 million or the 19
No.
million. 19
No.
or 15?
15. I wish it was
15.
19.
You wish it was
My
19.
life would be
And maybe you could get a scanner right connect. Hey, maybe
That's right.
you could connect to the blogging and all that. Another $4 million.
Make some
It
improvements.
was only $4 million. You expect what's going on in St. John to come here also and spread in Upton? And
St. John's having, as you know, just the way their city's made up, they have
what's the problem anyway?
funding. Well, they have a large bedroom community, and everyone's leaving the center to the bedroom communities,
Okay.
and their tax base is decreasing, and their needs haven't changed. Right? They still have a huge area to cover, fire service wise, biggest in the province, way bigger than us. And for them to service that, they need people, because it takes a long time to drive from one end of their city to the other.
Yeah.
As far as to get there
Yeah.
fast enough. You're saying your point about it being a while just coming from Hanwell.
Yeah.
Well, multiply that by 2.
Yeah, I work at the shipyard for 15 years.
Well, you know that.
Yeah, I know that.
So I think that's and so their funding model is challenged because of their tax base issues.
You don't have to answer that. Do they have a good relationship, the firemen in St. John and the refinery? Do they? They sort of had their own firemen at the refinery.
The refinery has a brigade that does a lot of the work. I know they had an incident there last year, and
Yeah.
they actually took on that was an opportunity for them to kind of figure out, okay, this is what works and what doesn't work, and let's work a little better together moving forward. And I know that they've done some work together, the refinery, because look, they're part of the community. They should get the support from the fire department, and I know the fire department's always ready to help. But it's just a matter of getting a plan together. I know they did a lot of work.
What's your campaign again there in the spring? That's the first time I went on top of the bucket.
Oh, the ladder set for
Yeah.
muscular dystrophy.
Yeah. So is that still going?
Every year.
How much you raised last year?
It was $40,000 ish. Usually
40,000.
35, 40. I think we're up to. I'm blanking on the number right now, but.
So there's more to be a fireman than just chasing cats on top of poles.
It is absolutely. It's a calling.
Even though we don't know what you guys are doing now, we got no scanner, so we don't know what you guys. You just chase cats on top of pole. We don't know. Charlie, you were doing so good, so good. I had to blow it right at the end. No, but there's a lot of stuff you guys are doing.
Oh, absolutely. We're busy when we're on duty. All of our people get involved with the community when they're off duty, whether it's charity fundraisers, helping out with different initiatives like we got the turkey drive coming up. You remember that?
Yeah, the Victory Meat Market.
Yeah, and that's really taken off the last few years, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And I know that they were able to help. They started just wanting to help the Fredericton Center, but then they had so much that they ended up being able to ship it out and help out Oromocto and other areas too. So it's really good to see that, and that takes the citizens stepping forward too, right?
Yeah.
And donating and taking part. So it's been great, and we'll always have something going on, no matter what month it is or what time of year. There's an initiative that we're involved with, and our firefighters are stepping up to help out and lend a hand.
I look at the old pictures coming in the hallway, black and white.
Yes.
I love history. When was the firemen unionized?
I believe 1953.
1950.
That's the number that's coming to my mind. Early 50s. So it's been quite a while.
So, you know, if you look at a fireman, uniform and everything, they don't know when they say, okay, honey, I'm off to work. They might come back, they won't be the same person from what they see.
Every day can be a tough day. Yeah, absolutely. But it's what we signed up for, and our people are passionate about it. So
Keep up the good work.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
I survived.
Oh yeah. Did I survive?
Yes.
Okay.